Good afternoon, parents. My name is Tyler Barker. I serve as the coordinator within the Office of Parent and Family Programs. I would like to welcome you to our What's Buzzin' at Georgia Tech webinar series, which we have for parents to kind of better connect you to Georgia Tech and our programs and resources and cool offices that we have on campus to support your student. Today, we are joined by Dr. Linda Green, who is the director of the Office for Tutoring and Academic Support. And she will kind of just talk about some things about how your student can be successful at Georgia Tech and how we can support them academically. And so if you have any questions for Dr. Green while we're going throughout the presentation, please feel free to drop those in the Q&A chat box. Once again, if you have any questions that may come about, or if you just want to tell us about your student's experience, please drop those in the Q&A chat box. If you give me a few moments, I will switch over to the PowerPoint and we will begin our presentation. All right, and without further ado, I will turn it over to Dr. Linda Green.
Thank you, Tyler. Greetings, everyone. It's nice to have you join us this afternoon. As Tyler indicated, I'm the Director of Tutoring and Academic Support at Georgia Tech. I'm also faculty in the School of Biological Sciences. I'm newly returned to Tech as a Yellow Jacket. I spent the last 3 years on the faculty at Georgetown University, and before that, spent 10 years as faculty in the biology department. So I'm really pleased to share with you today the types of resources that we offer in tutoring and academic support in order to help support your students' success. So our facilities are located right in the heart of campus in Cliff Commons. We occupy 2 suites. The professional staff offices are in 283, and then next door we have a spacious room that's available for students to drop in for tutoring. Right now, it's open to all students for their independent study. And in a typical semester when we have normal operations, that's where we hold most of our tutoring and drop-in sessions within the Cliff Commons 277 and the rooms surrounding it. Right now, we're offering a virtual lobby to take any questions that students have and getting connected with our resources. So this is an image of our webpage. You can see across the top banner a link that students can access from their desk or a phone, or if they walk up to our actual space, there's a QR code they can scan, and it'll connect them with one of our student assistants who can direct them to the resources that they're looking for. All of our resources are also available from our website. That's fine. Tyler, go ahead. So one of the things that we think about is how we fit into a student's life. And so if we create a hypothetical full-time student schedule, we can recognize that students have somewhere around 15 hours a week that they are in a lecture setting. And then depending on their major, they may have an additional 3 to 6 hours of studio or lab. Right, so within the confines of a 40-hour work week, which is one way of thinking about their job as a student at Georgia Tech, that leaves about 25 or more hours for studying. And we really think about this in 3 different ways. There's a component of self-study, where they're reading, reviewing the textbook, videos, or other resources that the faculty provides, creating and reviewing notes, and hopefully within that they are accessing their TAs and their faculty as a resource to help smooth some of the wrinkles that they may have in their depth of understanding of the material. But then the other component is thinking about how to layer in peer study. And so that's where we come in. We can both assist with individual practice and self-testing through one-to-one tutoring, and then also support their study habits and their comprehension of material through peer study in our group study sessions, which are known as PLUS. All of these resources are free to Georgia Tech students, and I'm going to tell you now a little bit more about both what tutoring and PLUS sessions look like. So for tutoring, we hold them within our suite in Cliff Commons. For the current semester, they're offered through web conferencing, which is the common platform for Georgia Tech students of Blue Jeans. Our tutors are selected based on prior success in a course. Then they enroll in a 1 credit hour training course for a semester where they become CRLA certified, which means that they have been trained to think about the full structure of their session, not only to just answer the direct question that a student may bring, but also to help develop their study skills and their self-sufficiency. So these sessions are meant to be student-led, they're meant to be interactive, discussion of content, problem solving, and a student can request 2 tutoring sessions a week for each course that they're enrolled in. In addition, with normal operations, we offer in-person, just drop-in help desks where students can drop in as many times as they need during the week for assistance from peers and TAs for physics, computer science, and chemistry. For the current semester, for those 3 subject areas in particular, we've increased our one-to-one tutors to be able to meet the needs of our students. For the maths drop-in help desks, we have been able to establish that in a virtual setting. So from Monday through Friday, from the hours of 9 to 7, students can tag into those virtual rooms and talk to a graduate or undergraduate TA with any questions that they have. The goals of our tutoring is to develop a self-sufficient learner. What that means is we want a student who can articulate what they don't understand and find the resources that they need to help answer those questions. And so what we do with our training for our peer tutors is help them develop the capability to create a positive, respectful learning environment working with the student, to balance the structure that a student might need to attack the material and to work through the problem with building the self-sufficiency of that individual so that they can leave a tutoring session and still be able to work on their own towards mastery. We train them with techniques and questioning that builds that student self-confidence to recognize what they actually do know. And we also train our tutors to recognize when students need more support. They work with them in thinking about time management and setting goals from session to session, and also how to structure their test prep. When necessary, our tutors are then going to refer a student to academic coaching. If you're able to join the parent webinar on Tuesday or want to go back and watch it, there was a great session talking about exploratory advising and academic coaching. So how academic coaching differs from tutoring is academic coaching involves meeting with the professional staff at Georgia Tech, and those coaches are working with the student to understand the learning process writ large and to look at how academic success interacts with our personal well-being. So really taking a big picture look at time management and setting goals week to week for the semester. Go ahead to the next slide. We offer one-to-one tutoring in over 130 courses at Georgia Tech. We also strive to meet requests for courses that are not on this list, and I'll show you towards the end where we have students communicate with us when they have a need that they don't find among our tutors and courses that we offer. So one-to-one tutoring is a great resource for targeted help that a student has in attacking particular content for a test or working to gain skills in problem sets. It's particularly helpful for students who may need very tailored structure for their personalized needs in a learning environment. But we also offer group study sessions, which can be very useful when students really want to be able to collaborate and maybe hear from multiple individuals how to work through or understand a particular concept. So let's take a little bit closer look at the group study. So this is called PLUS at Georgia Tech. It stands for Peer-Led Undergraduate Study, also referred to as supplemental instruction at some universities. These are offered through our web conferencing platform of BlueJeans. In normal operations, these are reserved in classrooms, typically in the evenings across campus. Our peer leaders are selected and trained alongside our tutors, but they have an additional element in that they attend class in the same semester with the students. And that allows them to follow along with the faculty member and the students in the content. And they design and lead study sessions twice a week to work through that course content and develop study strategies that are particular to that particular course. It really creates a relaxed, fun, very collaborative environment where students are benefiting from a peer who's already aced that course and can give them broader perspective and tools to master the material for the course. The structure in a PLUS session then is more defined by the Plus leader compared to a tutoring session where we encourage the students to bring the organization, the questions, and the content for that session. Next slide for me. The courses that are supported by Plus are on this slide here. These courses are selected based on the history of being a challenging course at Georgia Tech, but the resources offered to all the students that are enrolled. And the Plus leaders are connected with the Canvas site that the students and the faculty are enrolled in, so they are communicating directly with the students in the course that they support. We do know that attendance at our Plus sessions does correlate with a higher probability of earning an A, B, or C in the course, and we often suggest that students really invest in the time of coming repeatedly to our Plus sessions in order to maximize their success and their mastery of the content in the course. So in thinking about how our resources are available every semester, and it's never too late for a student to initiate one-to-one tutoring or to join Plus sessions. There's no sense that it's not worth their time to get involved with our resources. And I'll show you that the tutoring can be scheduled at our website. The Plus sessions are published through their own course website, but we also have access to it. Your student can become a tutor or a Plus leader in a future semester. So we're hiring each semester. We start at $11 an hour, and one of our expectations is that these students will enroll in that training course in their first semester of employment, where we can help them develop as a peer tutor or Plus leader with our programs. So there are a couple of places in which your student can access our resources. This first link here will give them that top blue button where they can schedule a one-to-one tutoring appointment. They'll log in and they can select for any of the courses that they're enrolled in a tutoring block for up to 2 weeks in advance, so they can see all of the tutors and their availability for each course that they are taking. They can also let us know if there's an unmet need, and this might be a course that they don't see any available tutors, or it could be a course for which the times that they are available do not match up with any of our tutors. And we strive to meet both of those needs, so we can reach out to the tutors for a particular course to see who might be able to offer a session at the time that the student is requesting, or look for a tutor that has expertise that can extend to the course in need. The second link here is where a student can find information about the Plus sessions. Again, they should have this from their own course website, but they can come here as another easy way to connect to the schedule and the link to join that particular Plus session. And then finally, the third link showcases one of our drop-in supports, so a student could access this as many times as they want without any advanced scheduling. And they can click on the button at that link that will take them to the schedule and connect them to one of our graduate or undergraduate TAs in math. Go ahead to the next slide. So I want to open it up for your questions and concerns and thinking about how best to support your student, but first acknowledging a couple of things. So we know that the virtual learning environment is very challenging, and in particular, it challenges the student's skill and self-regulation. It's okay, you can pop it out to me. So we're working hard to increase awareness and encourage your student to reach out for tutoring and academic support to help stay on top of their studies. I think it's one of the shifts is moving from an environment where going to class and seeing their friends, moving around campus creates chunks and blocks of time that already facilitate studying. And in the absence of all of that movement, there's really a high degree of self-regulation for our students and their academic success. And so hopefully by utilizing tutoring or Plus sessions, we can really help them institute regular review and discussion of their material as their key to success. So I really appreciate that you joined us this afternoon. I want to let you know that I have two colleagues on the call with us, Justin Boone, who's our Assistant Director of Tutoring and Academic Support, and Stephanie Tran, who is our Plus Coordinator, and we'll draw upon both of them to help address any of the questions that you may have today.
It seems that we don't have any questions just yet. Still waiting on those to come in the Q&A chat box. But I'll pose the first question to you, just from a general standpoint. If I'm a parent and it's hard to motivate my student to use your office and your services, any advice for me to kind of help them, get some motivation to come visit you all to kind of get some tutoring?
I think one of the ways to sort of get through that difficulty with the activation energy is taking advantage of the drop-in help desks. And in this semester, that is highlighted with our math resource because it doesn't take too much to pop in and ask 1 or 2 questions and then recognize, oh, this actually is easier than I thought. These TAs are really helpful. Maybe I'll stick around. There's another student who's working on the same problem set and kind of build that collaboration. The other thing that I also think is valuable if they're in a course supported by PLUS is being able to connect with other students, right? In this semester more than ever, our students have more difficulty in creating a study group, especially in the first year. And the PLUS session is almost an automatic way to have a study group that meets twice a week. Stephanie, do you want to add anything for PLUS?
No.
Okay.
I think your answer was perfect already.
Great.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Can you please clarify a tutor and a TA? Is it the same? Is there a difference? And just talk about their roles in the academics.
Absolutely. So a TA or teaching assistant is typically hired and selected by the faculty member to support a specific course. And they're typically attending the lectures, offering office hours alongside the faculty, and they may be involved in laboratory or studio instruction. The tutors are hired by our unit and then trained by us to structure a one-to-one tutoring session. And in that case, they are offered for as many courses as we can possibly support for students. So it's possible that if a student develops a good relationship with one of our tutors, that tutor might be able to help them in chemistry and calc and bio, right? So they could utilize the same individual for more than one subject.
Yeah, I'll jump in here really quickly. I think the thing that students get from a recitation TA is a bit different than what you get from a tutor. Going to recitation, you get an opportunity to watch an expert apply the material that the professor covered in lecture on solving a problem, and so they can say, okay, here's how I solve this problem, here's how I use the methods that we discussed in class to solve this problem. And a tutor or PLUS leader, we really try to get the student to articulate their thought process as they are solving a problem to the tutor, right? And so whereas the TA may be in a room with 30, 35 other students and saying, here's how I solve a problem, you all model my problem solving, a tutor can dig deep and work with the student one-on-one to say, like, okay, what do you think we should do here? Why do you think we do that first? Why do you think we do this next? And really help the student defend why they're doing what they're doing whenever they're going through the problem solving process, rather than we can do this because my TA did it, right? So they kind of go hand in hand.
Thank you, Justin, for sharing that as well. The next question is, have professors advertised these services? And what does that process look like if they do?
I'll go ahead and address that. So we know that professors are encouraged, and most of them do include information about our unit in their syllabus. We, in fact, reached out to all professors that have courses that are supported with Tutoring and PLUS about 2 weeks ago, trying to anticipate this midterm season, reminding professors to share with their students that our resources are available. I think in this semester in particular, it's challenging because everyone's getting their information from the computer rather than walking by our offices or seeing signs on campus or being able to interact with more students and talking a little bit more about, oh, I went to tutoring or I went to PLUS last night. So we're continuing to work in particular with SGA and some of our partner units in the Office of Undergrad Ed to remind students of these resources and hope that they can use it to help feed their success this semester.
And I like to include that a lot of our plus leaders actually, they go to classes with these students as well. So they have a really good professional relationship with the instructor, and the instructor are often advertising their plus sessions during class as well. So they get that information too.
Thank you, Stephanie, for chiming in on that. Seems that we have one more question as a follow-up to the TA question. Are the TAs the same that are assigned to the students' classes?
If that's thinking, the TAs and the tutors are not the same individuals. I think it would be rare that a student would take on both of those jobs just because they both can be 10 or more hours per week. So I think that usually those are different individuals that the student can access both. The professor, the TA on one side that has that expertise directly related to the course, and our tutors who are individuals that have aced that course and then continued their training with us on the best practices of tutoring.
Great. And Dr. Green, if you could just follow up in regards to the marketing and communication outreach to students specifically. So how have students been made aware of these services? Are there emails sent out, etc.?
So we are not emailing students directly. We're both trying to target through the daily digest, which every student receives, working on highlighting our services there. We know that professors are reaching out to their students. We've also reached out to advisors who are meeting with students and checking in on them through the semester, so they can also receive a reminder that this is a great resource. And as in my previous 10 years in faculty in biology, I was one of those advisors, and so definitely was recommending these services to students who were struggling and needing a little bit of guidance.
We also market very heavily during Facet. We partner with the team there, so I think by the time students get through Facet, they're like, I've heard about tutoring 50 times today. So if they learn nothing else, they know that there's free tutoring on campus. They don't need to go out and pay for a tutor. We've got the students that are qualified and trained here at Tech.
And students classes that are supported or plus, they're getting weekly emails, reminder emails about sessions. That's something that our plus leaders are supposed to do, send out weekly reminder emails with the time, what's being talked about in the session, and also like the Blue Jeans link to join it as well.
Great, thank you, Stephanie and Justin, for chiming in on that as well. Next question is, my son is struggling in chemistry, but as said earlier, he doesn't want to get help. I know he could use it. I will encourage him to watch this recording. Maybe that will help.
Yeah, I'll add that I think it's, the encouragement is the key there, and continuing to encourage students that we know that students who are successful at Tech learn how to ask for help, and that he should find a way to ask for help in whichever way that's most comfortable to start with, whether it's talking to his advisor, talking to a TA, the professor, reaching out for tutoring. And probably any one of those is going to direct the student to, also seek out or check out another resource, so that, if the first one isn't the right match, that maybe the second person that he talks to is the right match, and thinking, this is what I really needed. This is what I'm comfortable doing, whether it's a tutoring session or a plus session, right? That might appeal to a person with a different learning style or different learning needs. And I think that's important, just to recognize we all need to ask for help to be successful.
Yeah, just to chime in, he's not the only one. I feel like a lot of our students feel like everybody else in lecture seems to know what they're doing and kind of has this in the bag, and I'm freaking out a little bit, personally. So I think with chemistry, we support all the freshman chemistry classes with Plus. And so I would definitely encourage him to attend a Plus session so that he can see that he's not the only one, but also see that he doesn't need to be paralyzed because of the struggle. Like he can make progress, and it's okay to admit that you're struggling a little bit, because there's ways to kind of overcome that struggle.
Interesting.
Is math the most common course that student struggling. I'm curious if the online component is making it harder than usual.
I'm going to jump in. So I went to Tech and got my grad degree in mathematics. It is not easy, right? The mathematics courses at Tech are pretty rigorous, but the faculty members have done a really great job of transferring the material online this semester, much quicker than I ever anticipated. Looking at some of the coursework that the students are doing. Some of the students that come into tutoring meet with the tutor and are bringing up this materials that the professors have provided them. And the tutors themselves are like, oh, I wish I had this when I was taking the class, because now I can see what the professor was trying to draw on the board with this like 3D visual, you know. So I think they've adapted really well to the online environment, but it is tough, right? And so I think it's a course that we definitely want to support, since so many other classes depend on that material. In the future.
Thank you, Justin, for sharing that. Let's see, how many students are at a time in a plus session?
I can answer that. It really varies, to be honest. We could have about 10 to 20 students in a normal session, but then during like test reviews, we've seen as much as 100, and especially during this new environment being virtual, it's definitely a lot more convenient for students to attend virtual sessions, because they just pop open their computer and they can just attend and collaborate with other students. So it really varies, to be honest, especially during the semester, whether it's during midterms or whether it's during like a regular session, but it could vary.
Thank you, Stephanie. And I just have a follow-up to that as well, and especially for the parents and family members who may have joined the webinar late. Can you talk about, is there strictly virtual tutoring now considering COVID, or does my student have an opportunity to get some in-person tutoring as well? Can you just talk about what your office is doing now currently?
Sure, I can address that. So right now, all of our services are virtual. Students can ask questions and kind of be directed in the right resource through our virtual lobby that they can get to at tutoring.gatech.edu. They can ask questions about what tutoring versus plus might look like, or they're talking to students, so they can get a really nice feedback what that assistant might suggest given their concerns or their needs. And then the one-to-one tutoring is being offered on Blue Jeans. The plus sessions are also being offered on Blue Jeans. And those resources can be accessed from our website.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to clarify, because I know we have in our office, we get a lot of phone calls about students who are struggling just adjusting to the virtual format. And so I was just trying to see if there was an in-person tutoring option to combat their struggles in the classroom. I am so glad you have so many services for students. My daughter she's at home while attending classes, and I will remind her about all the virtual support. So kudos to everybody.
It is, and I think that it's valuable moving forward now that we've really been able to experience this from the unfortunate circumstance of COVID-19, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to continue offering virtual services for students who are commuting and may not be able to stay around campus in the evenings for tutoring. They may be studying abroad, but still taking chemistry, and so they may be able to now access some tutoring or plus sessions virtually.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. What is the utilization like this semester? Is it high? Is it higher as it is in the past?
We were just working over those numbers this morning. At the beginning of the semester, we were a little lower than the first 2 weeks a year ago, but now we're definitely seeing an increase in plus attendance, as Stephanie was describing. I think the fact that it is a little bit easier to get to it and there aren't as many competing social events that students are taking advantage of these plus sessions. And Justin may be able to speak a little bit more. He sees the tutoring on a week-to-week basis, what those numbers look like.
Yeah, so it was really hard for us to gauge how many tutors we needed to bring on this fall. You know, we didn't know this virtual format, since it is more accessible, we would have a higher demand or lower demand. And so we hired more tutors than we ever have in the past for this semester to try to support as many students as we can. And the tutors themselves, whenever we first went remote in the spring semester, attendance dropped pretty drastically mid-semester whenever we went remote. And this semester, fall, I think the fact that we started remote and marketed, like, here's how you utilize these services, we're still here type messages, really helped attendance stay steady this fall.
Cool, thank you for that, Justin. And I do have another question for you, Justin. Can a first-year student be hired as a tutor?
That's a great question. We know, and there's another comment in here that a lot of students that go through Facet don't think they need the help. They're like, I am the tutor. I'm not the one that goes to tutoring. And so this is something that we run into a lot. We've got some really overeager students, or really eager students. I don't want to say overeager, that they want to get involved. They may have tutored in high school. They may really have enjoyed that experience of giving back and helping others. And they find that it's a great way for them to stay fresh on the material, you know, working with somebody else, and like we ensure explaining their thought process as they go through. We do have a stipulation that they had to have taken the course at Tech and earned an A at Tech in order to support it with our Tutoring and Academic Support programs. So not their very first semester, but we do have a lot of students who start their second semester, but they'll come and talk to us that first semester and say, oh, how do I apply to be a tutor? What do I need to do? And our advice is to use tutoring so you can get a feel of what it looks like working with us. Go to Plus Sessions so you can see that. And then ace your classes so that you'll be eligible to support them going forward. We have a lot of our staff utilize our services too. So we have a lot of tutors that tutor tutors, or a lot of Plus leaders that will attend Plus sessions for their upper level courses. So I feel like coming in, they think I am the tutor. I'm not the one that goes to tutoring. But by the time students graduate, hopefully they realize we're all in this together. I can use the help. I can give help. I'm not one or the other.
And Justin, is it a paid or non-paid position if you're hired?
It is a paid position. So all of our tutors and Plus leaders start at $11 an hour. It's completely free for students to use. I feel like that can be confusing sometimes. Like, wait, how are you paying the tutors if you're not charging students to use the services? So parents, if you remember nothing else, know that our services are free to use and they can use it as much as they like.
Great. I think we have a question for Stephanie. How do math Plus sessions work? Do students need to come with their questions or email them in advance?
So Plus sessions are a little bit different. You won't understand a Plus session until you actually have attended a Plus session. So the things that we really aim on to do in Plus is to pretty much have an environment of active learning for our students. And we have the Plus leaders who attend class, so they're going over the content that's being taught in class. So it's not like a Q&A kind of thing, like you come, ask questions, and then the Plus leader answers your questions. It's more the Plus leader has been to the class and they've prepared a session plan and they're going over content and they've prepared activities so that the students work together to pretty much learn the content. And so that involves either working on problems together or working on like collaborative group activities like Kahoots or like Factile. So it's a lot about more like engaging study sessions, I would say.
Yeah, just to add to that, so one of the big differences between Plus and tutoring is in a tutoring session, the content is really student driven. So the student comes in and is like, here's the material that I want to cover. Here's the chapters that we're going over. Sometimes they come in with a over-ambitious, like, teach me all of physics 2 in an hour because I have a test next week or something like that. But it's really the content that's covered in the one-to-one session is based on what the student wants to go over. In the plus session, it's based on what they just covered in lecture. So the plus leader does come with, here's the material that you guys are going to work on, and here's the structure for the session, how it's going to be facilitated.
Thank you. I do have another question. If a student would like to get their paper viewed by someone, would they go to your office or perhaps another office?
Can you say that again? You were breaking up.
If a student would like to get their paper reviewed, just for grammatical errors and things of that sort, would they go through your office or another office?
Great question. So the communications lab is up on the 4th floor of Clough. We're on the 2nd floor. We work really closely together. I work with their tutor trainer, and they handle a lot of resume review, working with papers, like getting your voice down, what message you want to provide in your assignment. They will not sit down and write a paper with you, right? And so it's something that the student does need to come with, like, here's the material, here's what I think I should do, and they can meet with a writing consultant to go over how do you communicate this message more clearly. And they do have asynchronous grammatical checks where you can submit an assignment, someone can review it and get back to you with tips on improvement. But that's the communications lab.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. Seems that we don't have any questions at the moment. Parents and families, anybody on the webinar, please feel free to take these last few minutes and just provide us with any more questions that you have. More than happy to assist. I guess I could ask one more question to Linda. When will the decision, if it hasn't already, a time frame of when for the spring semester, when will you know whether you'll offer virtual or in-person tutoring strictly?
So those decisions will probably be made in line with the course delivery format so that we're supporting courses in a similar fashion. And from what I understand, we're kind of projecting preparing for both online and in person at this point until I think we're a little bit closer to being able to make a decision on what the public health crisis looks like. So we will probably prepare to hire students for a virtual format because we can always shift into the in-person format. We have the space, we have the rooms that we can immediately start booking for in-person study sessions. And it'd be great to see that we can start doing, distanced one-to-one tutoring is probably the first thing that we would transition to in-person environment. The plus sessions are just like classes, are a little bit more tricky because you need a much larger class to have safe and distanced individuals, and creating collaborative environment in that scenario is a challenge. So the virtual environment does sort of trump a very distanced group study, but the one-to-one tutoring is something that we are talking through and trying to anticipate what it could look like in the spring semester if we can begin to do more in-person services.
Thank you. And just as a follow-up to that, if I'm a current student who is virtual this semester and I'm in a different time zone that perhaps doesn't align with the East Coast, what does that look like for me getting some assistance?
Yeah, we'd absolutely want to encourage a student in that scenario to reach out with the unmet tutoring need and let us know the time zone and the hours that they would most like to see some support, and then we'll reach out to our tutors and find someone who can do an early morning or late evening session. The plus sessions are more fixed because they're offered at a regular time every week. So I think the best way that we can support students in distant time zones is through one-to-one tutoring.
Great. And is the Center for Academic Success open in the CULC this semester?
We do have staff in the center every day. We are trying to filter questions and direct students to the resources they need with our virtual lobby. But then if there's something that isn't met through that virtual lobby, those student assistants can pop an individual out to who's ever in the office at that time.
I do want to say, so we did rebrand a little bit this year. We've got the Center for Academic Success has kind of split into Tutoring and Academic Support, which is our team, and then Undergraduate Advising and Transitions, which has the academic coaching component that Linda was talking about earlier involved in it. We're all still in the same suite. We just have more like leadership and support kind of moving forward. So we split into a couple of main teams. So you may see things that say Center for Academic Success. You may see things that say Tutoring and Academic Support. We're all the same people, same programs. We're just trying to make it a little bit more clear for students. If they're looking for tutoring and they search tutoring, they see Tutoring and Academic Support. Right?
Great. And Justin, if you could just touch on how does a student go about arranging a tutoring session through you all's website, and how far in advance would you recommend that somebody set up a session to happen?
Yeah, great question. So we don't do same day appointments. We do have same day drop-in help or same day plus sessions. Like there's no booking needed to sign up for a plus session or a drop-in session. But for one-to-one, you need to book an appointment at least 24 hours in advance. And that's really just to notify the tutor, hey, someone wants to meet with you at from 3 to 4 for this class tomorrow, so that they can be prepared to meet with them for that session. You sign up for tutoring appointments on our website at tutoring.godtech.edu. Students log in with their Georgia Tech credentials, and it pulls up a list of courses that they're currently registered for. They click on the course they're looking for help in, and it pulls up all of the tutors' availabilities that can support that course. And they just click on an hour that works with their schedule, and it books the appointment. They log back in in a 10-minute time frame of the start of the appointment, and there'll be a link to join the Blue Jeans room for that session with the tutor. So really, it's super easy to book an appointment. If a student doesn't find availability that works with their schedule, we really do ask them to fill out the unmet tutoring need form. We know sometimes students can get discouraged if they don't automatically see something that works and they don't fill out the form, but we have a really good success rate of filling those unmet tutoring needs because all of these positions, as we mentioned before, are paid, and our tutors always want to pick up more hours. So definitely don't be scared to fill out the unmet tutoring need form if you don't find an availability that works.
Perfect. Let's see, I have one more question. Where can my student find a schedule for the plus sessions this semester?
So I can answer that. It's on our website at tutoring.godtech.edu, and it's under plus. And as soon as you click plus, there's a fall 2020 plus schedule little tab, and you just click on that.
I love this next question about the lanyards. We have a ton of Center for Academic Success lanyards. We just ordered a huge batch of them because it was cheaper to order a lot than it was to order like smaller batches. And then the very next month they were like, oh, we're going to rebrand. So definitely swing by. I'll set those out. Yes, we have lanyards.
Great.
Tyler, I want to add one comment that's come to me is some of the earlier questions as parents were thinking about how to encourage their student to take advantage of these resources. And I think one thing is students don't always know why they should go to a tutoring session. So it doesn't have to be, I don't understand photosynthesis in my biology class. It could, or I can't do this problem set in physics. It could be more broadly of, I don't know how to organize my notes for the upcoming exam, right? And so the tutors can help them develop the skill of filtering out what's important and what's not, whether you're looking at the textbook or you're looking at the notes, maybe even doing a little bit of tutoring on what notes are important to be making because they've taken the course, and they can give a little bit of that framework. So I think students sometimes kind of have many different ways in which they're struggling, and the professor can help address those. Absolutely. They can also, if they want to reach out to a peer, use the resource of tutoring to get some of that support and encouragement of how to set goals and plan and test prep.
Great. I think that's truly great knowledge. Let's see. Seems that we may have had a parent join us late, and so just another point of clarification: is drop-in help in the Coke available, or is it virtual?
It is virtual this semester. So the drop-in help for the math lab is all virtual, but we've increased the staffing. So now we've got more hours available from pretty much 9 to 7, Monday through Friday, for students to drop in. For the other subjects where we've had drop-in for chemistry, physics, and computer science, due to the nature of COVID making it difficult to offer in-person drop-ins, we've increased the number of one-to-one tutors. So it just requires a little bit more advanced planning so that they can have that 24-hour advance selection of a time to meet with a tutor.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Well, I think that's all the questions that we have. Dr. Green or Justin or Stephanie, do you all have any closing remarks that you would like to leave with the parents?
We just want to let you know that we are working hard to remain connected to your students. We know this semester is a challenge. We're really pleased to see the participation in our Plus sessions, and we're hoping to continue to reach out to students in a number of different ways, from social media, through emails, through their professors, to let them know that we're a resource for them and create that structure that I think many students are struggling to establish in their routine, especially as first years moving from the high school environment to the college environment. That's the session that I mentioned earlier on Tuesday that from coaching really highlighted that shift. If you think about 2/3 of your time as a high school student is structured in the day by your teachers, and maybe 1/3 is self-regulated study, and we kind of upend that. And so for a first year student now being in a situation where only 1/3 of their time is structured in class and the other 2/3 is now very open, and creating that structure that both allows for that social development and personal well-being, but also academic success. So one of the ways that they can do that is creating some tutoring or attending Plus sessions to establish some of that structure and chunking their time better.
Yeah, I would like to add that a lot of times students think of studying and visiting tutoring or their professor's office hours or a Plus session as different entities, or different things. But going to a tutoring session or going to a Plus session, like that counts as study time. You are studying material outside of the lecture. We have a lot of students who feel like they have to be struggling in order to sign up for a session with a tutor or to visit a Plus session, and that's not at all the case. We're here to help you get a deeper understanding of the material. If you're on top of the class and are just curious about a topic and want to talk it through with somebody else, sign up for an appointment. We're not restricted to students who are struggling with material. One of the big things that we've noticed since going remote are a lot of students looking for just somebody to talk to about the material. You don't get that walking out of the classroom with the person right next to you like, hey, is this what he was talking about, or is this what we're supposed to be doing? You don't get those interactions as much now with these hybrid or remote courses. And so it's a great opportunity to talk with somebody and just kind of gut check, like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing here? Do you think that we're on the same page? Because you can convince yourself that you're on the right track, and then you get to an exam and you think, why? Well, I thought I was fine. I don't understand. And so it's a great way to kind of self-test and figure out, do I know what I think I know? Am I able to articulate and defend my thought process in this material?
Perfect. All great pointers. It seems that we have one more late question. Can you give a pointer to the information about the coaching session? I joined late.
Tyler, that's more for you, but you probably can pull up that website faster than I can. But on the parents, Georgia Tech resources, the webinar on Tuesday was given by Beatrice and Stephanie Aluko, who are part of our academic coaching and advising transition team. And they went over this idea of the exploratory advising and how that office supports students who just want to talk to someone about potentially changing their major, what it might be like to add a minor, what career path would best match my interests. And they also have the professional staff who offer academic coaching.
Yeah, and just to speak to that, I think the coaching is really good for students who are kind of looking to get to some of those soft skills, so like time management, motivation, and just different things like that as it relates to their academics. So coaching is something that can definitely be helpful as well. And Lacey, our director in the parents' office, just posted the YouTube recording so you can watch that. And so I think that'll be really great knowledge.
Yeah, that's great.
Our tutors and coaches really refer students back and forth. If someone comes into a tutoring session and the tutor realizes that it's not the course content that they're struggling with, but more like, I have 6 tests next week and they all snuck up on me. How do I make this manageable? That's more of academic coaching, where you can meet with someone to make sure that they don't sneak up on you for the rest of the semester. And then coaches, if they meet with a student and they realize, oh, this student is doing all the right things, this material is just really challenging and rigorous. So then they'll set them up with some tutoring appointments. So it's not a one or other situation, but it's definitely a collaboration with the coaches.
For sure. Well, thank you so much. Stephanie, did you have anything you would like to add, or are you?
No, Dr. Green and Justin have mentioned it all.
Well, parents and family members, thank you so much for joining us today. And also just would like to thank Dr. Green, Stephanie, and Justin for joining us as well and just providing such good information. I think that we can all agree that, we're all in this together and we're here to support your students and get them to that finish line, which is graduation. Please join us next Tuesday at 12 p.m. We will be joined by the Vice President of Student Life and Dean of Students, John Stein, just kind of talking about some updates within the Division of Student Life and what's going on at Georgia Tech, and also just give you, as a parent and family member, an opportunity to ask some questions and just kind of express anything that you would like to learn about more. And so please, please, please join us next Tuesday at 12 p.m. I will drop the attendee link now. And so that way you can have it, and you can also find it on our website, parents.gagtech.edu, under the Stay Connected tab. And then you'll click on the hyperlink, which takes you to the PDF schedule of our full webinar series for the fall semester. And if you would like to view any previous recordings, please visit that website as well. I'll go ahead and post that website now. But once again, thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a great afternoon. Go Jackets.
Yeah, thanks for having us.